What's up, everyone? It's Grimm again, otherwise known as Joshua D. Maley, and I am here with Night 3 of 31 Nights, 31 Frights. Every night in October, we'll be watching a horror or Halloween-themed movie and offering up a quick, mostly spoiler-free look at it for you to see if it's a worthy addition to your own Halloween lineup. Tonight, we're concluding our two-night unofficial look at the disturbing phenomenon of sleep paralysis with Dead Awake. This film stars Jocelyn Donahue in a dual role as twin sisters Kate and Beth Bowman. Oh, but the duality doesn't end there. We also have two Jessies in the cast, Jessie Bradford and Jessie Borrego. Finally of note, we have Natalie Jones as the Night Hag. Dead Awake was directed by Philip Guzman from a script by Jeffrey Reddick. It was released on May 12, 2017, clocks in at an hour and 39 minutes long, and is not rated. Now, this review does contain minor spoilers, but if you read the summary on Netflix, you'll get pretty much the same info, so I don't really count these as major or plot-impacting spoilers. As the story goes, a young woman named Beth is experiencing the terrifying sleep disorder known as sleep paralysis. It happens often enough to her that she has begun seeking therapy for the condition in a variety of places, but she has yet to find any kind of relief. We quickly get the sense that Beth is feeling very much alone and terrified of everything. Her paralysis is causing severe anxiety problems for her during the waking hours. There's some major tension between her and her twin sister, Kate, as evidenced at a surprise party staged at Beth's apartment. At first angry at her twin sister, Beth eventually does join the party, and the conversation turns to dreams and to Beth's sleep paralysis. The twins eventually seek help from the offbeat Dr. Sykes, played by the equally and wonderfully offbeat Lori Petty. Embrace the paralysis, Sykes tells her. So, Beth does, and it does not end well for her. Kate is left to pick up the pieces and struggle through the aftermath of her sister's death, as well as the fact that she, too, now suffers from sleep paralysis. So, let me first say that Jocelyn Donahue does a great job of playing both sisters. She sells Beth's overwhelming fear very well. You immediately connect with her and how desperate she's getting to find some kind of peace. Kate is a little more difficult to get a handle on at first, but eventually she does come into her own as the last twin standing, alone, and now afflicted by the very thing that seems to have taken her sister. Jessie Bradford is mostly serviceable as Beth's weird boyfriend, Evan. Jessie Borrego as the oddball dream therapist, Dr. Hassan Davies, never quite lands right, though. It's obvious they were going for that wise yet weird, aloof, oddball archetype, but most of the time he just comes off as awkwardly awkward, and not necessarily in a good way. The topic of sleep paralysis is handled fairly well this time, at least at first. Unlike the previous film on the subject, Be Afraid, sleep paralysis is actually a major part of this storyline. However, after Beth's passing, the film asks you to take a bit of a logical leap by implying that somehow the condition is contagious simply by believing that the so-called night hag is real. And at this point, it becomes less of an interesting character study on fear and its relationship to sleep paralysis, and more of a kind of cheap version of Nightmare on Elm Street. As with Be Afraid, the rules by which the night hag operates are never very clear, and her powers and abilities seem to change to fit the scene. By the end of the film, the premise has drastically shifted into more of a monster slasher flick. Again, kind of like a Nightmare on Elm Street, and for me, personally, that's where it lost its steam. The film is mostly well shot, with the exception of a few dull and uninspired lighting choices that give off kind of a student film vibe. The pacing is solid through the first half of the film, but it falls apart when the tone shifts from sleep paralysis to, the monster is chasing me in my dreams now. So, is it worth a look? Despite the shift in tone, it really was an entertaining film. There were some solid creepy moments, especially early on. Nothing I'd call scary, but the mood and the escalation of tension is very well executed during the first act. Now, enduring the second and third acts won't leave you feeling all that satisfied. As with Be Afraid, if you're a horror film buff who doesn't mind a little bit of uneven storytelling, you'll probably enjoy this one for the most part. But for the folks who prefer that the narrative makes sense consistently and maintain a bit of cohesion throughout, you'll probably find the last 2/3 of this one a little bit frustrating. That's it for tonight's episode. Tune in tomorrow for another quick look at more spooky cinema, and be sure to check out our other offerings here at Grimm's Scary Tales.